Welcome to another edition of Solution Drafting. Today we're going to create a dynamic block out of a detail cut. This is a very exciting video. This video is going to help you guys speed up your drafting. As you can see on this model space drawing, I'm going to copy and move over a detail cut. And typically, these are my typical detail cuts. They are not dynamic, of course. And if I wanted to do change the direction of the cut, I would have to literally copy it, rotate it, and then I would have to move it to where I want it to be at to get a different cut. As you can see, it took me a couple of clicks, and I definitely want to eliminate those clicks, because those clicks will end up costing me more time, longer to get things done drafting wise, and time is money, as you guys know. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a dynamic block out of this. The first thing we do is we're going to go to our edit drop down. We're going to copy with a base point. We'll choose the center of the detail cut. We'll select the entire thing, enter, and then we'll go back to the edit and we'll paste, and we'll drop it anywhere. Now I brought it back as a block. Maybe not, that didn't work. Let's try that again. We're gonna paste as a block. I apologize. Before I did just simple paste. We want to paste it as a block. This is what I want. And the reason I want it to come in as a block now is because I want to modify this block and convert it to a dynamic block. So what I do is I escape and I'll double click on it again, and it's going to take me to the edit definition pop-up window. Once I click OK on that, it takes me directly to my dynamic block editor, and here are my three tabs. There's the parameters, the actions, and parameter sets. Basically it's a combination of two actions. We want to go to our parameters first. Whenever you're going to convert a regular block to a dynamic block, you have to set the parameters first before you can set an action, which pretty much you want to give the instructions before giving an action. Pretty much that's what it means. So for this block, we want to use the linear parameter, and we want to grab the entire leg of that cut, and then we want to tap to our actions, and on our actions we want to click on stretch, because we want to be able to stretch the leg. I click the stretch, and then it's going to ask me on the bottom left hand corner to select the parameter, which the only one that we have active is the distance one. We click on that, and then we want to click. Then it's going to ask us where we want the stretch to actually happen at. And if you read the bottom of your monitor, it'll ask you where, how you want this action to be associated. So we want it to be here, because we want to extend from here towards your right. So I'll click once, and then it's going to ask me to grab the area where I want it to start stretching. So I want to definitely grab the leg, and again I'll be grabbing the parameter. And I want to make sure they both look dashed. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times. Enter. Once I do that, I want to test it to make sure that it actually is going to do what I wanted to do. So if you go to your upper left hand corner of your AutoCAD, there's a button that says test block. You click on that one, and it will give you another window option to actually test it. And I'm just gonna grab it from the end, see if it does stretch back and forth. And as you can see, it does stretch, which is awesome. That's what that's exactly what I wanted it to do. So now what I want to do is I want to get out of the test screen and go back to my editor, which is where I'm at now. The next thing I want to do is I want to add another parameter, because yes, I do want the leg to stretch back and forth, because sometimes when you do cuts on the plans, you don't want the legs to be as long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rotate parameter. because I want to be able to rotate the leg around, and that way I don't have to copy, move, and rotate the legs as I'm putting cuts on my plans. And it saves me a lot of clicks, which equals less time, which equals efficiency. So I'm going to click on the rotation parameter, and then it'll ask me to specify base point. If you reach your lower left hand corner, on your menu indicator, it'll tell you to do so. So what I want to do, this is very important, where you're going to choose your base point, because that's going to dictate how the rotate command will rotate. So I want the base point to be the center of my detail cut, and I want it to rotate the leg. So I'm going to grab the leg and click twice. That way it activates it. So it's telling the parameter that it's going to grab this leg, and it'll eventually rotate around once we grab the action to it. Right now it won't rotate because it's just telling AutoCAD that we want to be able to rotate, but now we have to give it the action, which is under actions. And then we want to choose the rotate command, and then we want to choose the parameter, right? We're going to choose the parameter, and we want to choose the distance parameter also. And the reason we want to also choose the distance parameter is because we want it to do both actions, to include the rotation and the stretching at simultaneously. Because if we don't select the distance parameter and we go directly just to the objects that we want to rotate, it's not going to stretch it. So it's very important that you select both parameters. So I'm going to select the distance parameter also. Now I'm going to select the object that I want to rotate, which in this case is of course the leg. I'll click on the leg, I'll press enter. Now my block should be pretty much set to go. Now I want to test it, so I'm going to go to my upper left hand corner and click the test block, and again it's going to take me to the testing screen. I'll click on the leg, and I'll try rotating it, see if it works. As you can see, now it rotates, which is awesome. Now I want to see if it'll be able to stretch, and it does stretch. And if I click the knob to rotate it, it'll also rotate. Right now, as you can see, I have my ortho on. That's why it rotates at 45 degrees, 90 degrees. I'm gonna undo my ortho, and now it gives me a nice rotation. And the cool thing about the rotation is, let's say you want to do a 45 degree cut, you enter 45, enter, and it gives you that 45 degree cut, which is awesome. Now that I've created it, what I want to do is I want to close out of the test block window, and now I want to save it. This next step is very critical. What you want to do is you want to go to your left upper corner of your AutoCAD, and you just look at my cursor. You want to click where it says open save, click on the sub menu here, and you want to choose save as block. And then at this point you can give your block a name. In this case I'm going to call it a dynamic block. And then you have to make sure that you click the lower bottom box, left hand box. Click it, because that's pretty much saying that you want to create a separate file with just a dynamic block. In other words, not only do you want to save it within this drawing, but you also want to save it separately so that you can incorporate it in future jobs or drawings. So I'll click OK, and it's going to ask me where I want to save it. In this case, I'm going to save it on my desktop. I'll save it on my desktop, and I'll click save. Now it's saved. Now I can close out of my block editor. Once I close out of it, it's going to ask me if I want to save it within this drawing file. If I don't want to, I can just click disregard and it won't save it. But just for demonstration purposes, we're going to save it to this drawing, and there it is. There's my dynamic block, and there's my stretch option too with it. which is so awesome because it's going to save me so much time when it comes to drafting. And this concludes our lesson on creating a detail cut with dynamic properties. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys soon.